Alright, hello everybody. One of the most common questions I get about my big tanks and my goldfish is, how do I change water? Why doesn't it take me hours to do? Because a lot of the people I talk to do the old bucket method with a siphon hose on their 20-gallon tank. This is how I do the water changes on my 125-gallon fancy goldfish tank with a sump. So stay tuned.
Alright, drain in the tank with the pond pump. You can see where the water level's at. And follow it through the basement. Messy basement. So I got this big concrete sink that pumps at approximately 2,000 gallons per hour. You can see the water level's already gone down quite a bit. And then hopefully I can clip it so it goes to fast motion. Alright, I think I'm going to check back in on the sink, so we'll follow the hose. You can see the water level rises about 6 to 8 inches or so in the concrete tank. I've never had it overflow though, which is nice. And we're about 40% drained at the 3-minute mark. Go back to my nice comfy chair and we'll go back to fast motion. Alright, I'm gonna adjust my pump here so it sits nice and level. And what I like to do generally is I wait until the water gets to the top of the actual pump below that screw nut. See, it's getting pretty low. We're at the 5-minute mark here. This is much larger water change than I would recommend for any other kind of fish keeper. However, goldfish keeping, this is very common. You can see I have a small little leak in my hose there. Squirting out. Almost there. Just like another 1/4 inch. Actually, sometimes I even do it lower. There's some times where my big Ryukin there, her top fin goes right out of the water. I drain it so low. Yeah, right about there. It's starting to suck air. Pump out. It's kind of hard to do one-handed, so all I did was I took the pump out, put it in a bucket. Water's super low. I'd call that what, a 90% change on a 125-gallon tank. Let's see the goldfish from above. Such gorgeous fish. Yeah, and this whole tank is lit by just 2 floodlights, which is pretty nifty. I'm going to pause it and set up my filling hose. Alright, so I'm back. I grabbed my water fill stuff. So this is a custom PVC hook that I made. I don't remember which Instagrammer it was, but it was definitely a goldfish keeper. But he recommended, or she, that I make a PVC hook with a strainer on the end. And what the strainer does is when the water shoots out, it distributes it more and you get more aeration, gassing off chlorine and hopefully increasing your dissolved oxygen, which is very low in the city pipes. If I ever wanted to swap this hook out, I have a union here so I can unscrew it, and change it for a hook that goes longer down into the aquarium or has some other kind of attachment. Also has a ball valve here, and this is less likely to break than the cheap ones that Python gives you. And you can stop the water flow with that, or you can even stop the siphon. And all I did was just attach like a PVC nipple or whatever you want to call it to the regular Python hose. Didn't cost me much at all. And let me just grab my thermometer gun. So this is like a cheap, it's E-Tech City. And what it is just a little thermometer gun. So you pull the trigger. I have mine set to Celsius. I work in Celsius generally. So my aquarium is sitting at, it'll adjust until it hits like a more optimal level. I'm just holding the trigger, and it's recording the temperature of the glass. Glass and water does reflect temperature, so it's not 100% accurate, but it is within like 0.2 of a degree. So we're sitting at about 24 degrees, we'll say, in my aquarium. Okay? And in general, that's what you want back in it. So we'll go over here to the tap. I realize it's dark, but I'm turning on the hot water right now. I'll move so you can get better angle. Got the thermometer probe. I'm pointing it at the water. 45 degrees Celsius. So we'll turn on the cold. I'm going to call that close enough. Follow the line back. And as you can see, it goes through the hook, and you have the water spread a little bit. The higher you have your tap set to, the more it's going to spread in your tank. So you get a little bit better of a kind of rippling effect on the surface, which is going to increase your dissolved oxygen and degas off chlorine. I generally quickly check the temperature of the water coming in, because it will change from the tap to here. And we can see that it is 22.9, so it's 1 degree lower, but that's okay. That's actually going to hold more dissolved oxygen. And I have not dechlorinated this tank yet. Excuse the mess here. I use Safe. I bought these handy little scoops. I know the biggest one does 300 gallons. Second one does 150. And with my sump, my aquarium actually holds about 150 gallons of water. So you just do a level scoop of your Safe. And rinse it off in the water, and that's all I do. And that will dechlorinate the water as it comes into the aquarium. No biggie there. And yeah, I will try and time this and see how long it takes to fill it back up. I'm guessing it's going to take about 20-30 minutes. Oh, I guess I should show you the sump while I'm filming here. The main light turned off in the sump. So let's go, I think it's this one. Outlet on. It's not that one. No, it is that one. And outlet on. There we go. My sump is a complete mess. And it will continue to be a mess until I get the goldfish fry out of there. You can see them all huddled. That's where I feed them. I've got a ton of different plants. This LED grow light I bought maybe a week and a half ago. And since then, my dwarf water lettuce has exploded. I have 2 times as much. My pothos is growing really quickly, and my other plants in here are actually growing really, really well. I have switched over to a 2-sock system. It's super ghetto, but when I reorganize the sump and I get the fry out of here, I will make this more optimal. I just need a second sock holder. My original one broke, so I've been testing this sock holder, and so far it holds up a lot better than my previous one. So we'll hopefully have a double sock system, and I'll be able to kind of show you guys that later on. But I've been just fiddling with the sump. I really like the sump. It gives me really, really clean water, and I like it. But yeah, I will chime back in when the tank's closer to being full. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes, I think. Let me check here real quick. 20 minutes. And we're almost full. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take one of those buckets that's empty. I'm going to bring it over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this tank up to those grid slots. Okay? And then the water is going to overflow through my overflow box, go down through my plumbing, down into the filter socks, and it's going to rise up in my sump. Now the goal is to fill the water up to the top of that sponge there. Here, actually, I'll turn these lights off because they distort it so much. Fill it up to the top of the sponge there, then turn the water off with the ball valve, toss it in a bucket, and then we just let it sit, turn the return pump back on in the sump, and we're good to go. So we're back. We are almost at those grid slots. I did the calculation. I have about 5.5 gallons missing from the sump from its max capacity that I run it at. And we changed about, oh, what did I calculate? Well, 90% of this top tank here. So in total, between the sump and the main aquarium, it was 118 gallons drained out. The total volume of the system is 160. So if we just round it to 120, divided by 160, I did a 75% water change today, which it looked like a huge amount up here, but because of the sump holding volume down there, it was, not as bad as it could have been. So we're almost at the water overflowing the grates there. And my overflow box actually has 3 standpipes. It's the Bean Animal design, so it's extra foolproof. We should be able to hear the water trickling soon. Yep. Oh yeah, you can hear it gurgling. It's sucking in that air. So we go down here. This is the main one. Hopefully you can see some flow there. Yeah, you can see the water coming out. A little blue bubbles. Let's go back out here. The goal is to get the water to rise to the top of the sponge. Shouldn't take too long. Oh, I also picked up this cool little feeding disc. The goldfish love it. It's got styrofoam underneath, so it floats. Makes less of a mess. And then I can kind of target feed them. They don't just, you don't end up with food all over the sump. You can chime in on these roots here. The roots where the return pump is behind the sponge wall is getting pretty thick. Anyway, we're almost there. Lots of calicos. I need to do one more round of culling. Probably just, to get the goldfish to suit what I would like. But for the most part, these guys are going to be the end product. I just got to grow them out. Okay. We're almost there. I'm going to call that it, because we still got to turn this off. Turn the ball valve. Oh. Am I going to be able to do this one-handed? I am. Okay, so we bring that down to the bucket. Usually I'll release the pressure in here. There we go. And then what I'll do, so I'll run back to the sink. Oh, you can't see. Here we go. Pull this down, start the siphon, turn the water off, go back to the tank, check on my water level, make sure the goldfish didn't go over that little sponge wall, because they do, because they're jerks.
Oh, we timed that just perfectly. The water's just going over that sponge. So, now what we do is find our return. I definitely recommend labeling your wires, by the way. Plug it in. And I've got a G-Cod pump. So you can see the lights saying it's on. It's going to max power right off the bat. However, the cool feature with the G-Cod pump is it actually ramps up slowly. You can hear it working there, hopefully. Bring you up. You can see the ripples from the spray bar hitting the surface. And that'll increase the water level. And the overflow box will collect more and more water, sending it back down to the sump. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't drill the tank, so the water level goes up to the trim, which is actually kind of a nice thing because I know if it goes to the trim, then my overflow box is kind of clogged, which saved my butt once or twice before. And we go back here, and the return pump is almost working at 100% at this point. So the water is dropping right back down. You can see it's gone below the sponge once again. You don't need to worry about goldfish getting sucked up by the pump. And we have all this added filter capacity. This sump actually has the same footprint as a 40-gallon breeder. It is just 3 inches taller. So approximately holds, 35 to 40 gallons depending on how high I have it filled up. And yeah, that's how I do water changes, and kind of like a little sneak peek of what my fancy goldfish tank is like. Hope you enjoyed it, guys.